right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Gathering. Tonight, you have myself and Rhonda as your hosts. We have a great show lined up for you this evening. We wanted to make a couple of quick announcements before we get started with the show. We have been off the air for the last couple of weeks, and we apologize for that, but it's with good reason. We've been extremely busy. We just finished shooting the Field of Fears documentary, our first large-scale production with the newly launched production company Shadowwork Productions. That Rhonda and I are both co-owners of, along with Kevin. So that was an incredible project. We had the honor and privilege of working with, I think, some of the most talented people in the paranormal from not only our team, but we had Medium Sky Ray with us, JW Prather of IDC Devices, and Justin Spurrier. We're hoping to have that and the companion book out for everybody to see the final product in May. We have a lot of great opportunities lined up for us where we have some public investigations. We'll be at the Chester Inn at the end of April. Gosh, Rhonda, what else we got coming up? We got some new locations I know coming online. What we do in Publix, but you've got some things coming up. You want to talk about that real quick before we bring Chris on?
We do. At the Sneed House, we have a troupe of psychics that's going to be there doing readings on May 8th. So that's going to be fun. And then, of course, the companion book I'm writing. So I don't know. It's always something.
Yeah, you'll be speaking at Lilydale in August, right?
Lilydale, yes. August the 17th, we'll be presenting with psychic medium Pat O'Keefe. So that's going to be an honor.
Awesome. I've got some classes coming up with Medium Sky Ray, as well as a summit that I'll be doing with her that she's included me in with Jeremy Leonard from Ghosts of Morgan City, Charlotte Underwood from the UK, and Jill Jackson. And of course, it's, like I said, Medium Sky Ray Summit. So we do have some big things coming up. So please keep an eye on all of our social media because we'll be putting out all the dates for those public events that people can attend to, classes and things like that that are coming up as well. But without further ado, tonight we have a very special guest with us. We have Chris Garcia. He is a psychic medium, and he's going to tell us all about his background, how he got into discovering his gifts and how he uses his gifts in a unique way to help other folks. So, Chris, welcome to The Gathering, man. It's great to have you on with us tonight.
I know it's a privilege. It's actually the first time I know we tried to reschedule. I mean, we tried to have you have me on. I think it was in March, but I know something came up. But it's a privilege to be on. So it's nice to meet you guys.
Well, we're honored to have you here tonight. So, Chris, how did you first discover your gifts? I know for some people it's very early. For other people, you kind of figure it out as you're going along, or you start, developing your gifts, like some of us. And I know others, it's something that, you're just born with. So what was your story, Chris? When did you first discover you had abilities?
Yeah, I want to say it was probably like when I was about 5. Is when I noticed it. My first experience was like when I was 5 is when I had my first. I didn't know what it was. I knew it was something that I thought everybody could do. I can say that I remember. I want to say I have this memory because I remember when I was a kid. You know how like us boys we climb on things, right? Well,
Right,
I remember climbing on this what do you call it, garage, and I remember falling and I hit the edge of the concrete. That shit hurt, and I couldn't breathe for maybe I would say maybe it seemed like 10 minutes to me, but it could have been longer. And I remember laying down, and you know how you see this stream, like I saw this light, and I'm thinking, oh man. And I didn't know what death was like because I was like 5 or 6, or I don't remember. I know I was young at that time. And then like I remember looking up, and I could swear like I could see like the other people on the other side, but it was like they're like, you're too young, you're not ready, So I was like, yeah, and I had a near-death experience. I didn't like die. It was just like because I was gasping for air, and it just seemed like I also projected out at that time when I had that pain because I didn't want to feel it. And then like after that, I don't know if I told you this, Matthew. I didn't get a chance to tell you. I was abducted. I want to say probably,
Oh wow.
I wonder about between 7 and 9. That's a whole nother show. Um, that I remember happening to me. And then I remember having dreams of me flying like I was Superman. I was having them like flying, like I could see like I didn't know it was a city, but I could see everything like over. It looked like gold,
Sure.
and
Oh
I was
wow.
just flying, and I'm like, what am I flying for? But I was very young at the time. And then after that, like I didn't really expose it because it runs in my family. It's from my grandma passed in 92. My mom's still alive, so it runs on the female side of the family. And so I didn't really have no one to teach me. So I had to learn everything
Right.
on my own, like thinking, oh, well, can everybody do this? And then as time went on, I started realizing not everybody could see. Uh, but I say about 10 or 11, my grandma raised me, but my mom would work overnight. But there was times where she did spend with me. And most of the time I was in Mexico. So I was all over the world in Mexico.
Oh wow.
And then I just, I kept, I guess you can say, because I was real shy, which I am still shy, but I'm kind of, the more that I'm doing shows, from the first time I did the show, that was probably back in 2017, maybe even later than that. I don't remember. Um, I've
With
learned
COVID
to
years, it seems like
be
we've
a
been
person
like
that a
living in a
speaker.
bubble for the last 2 years. So
Yeah, and then when it became like, I guess when I started reading people, was when I was in middle school. I mean, I had friends in elementary, but I wasn't really talking to them. I was more as an observer, like I knew that I didn't belong here, and I still feel that way. And then, like in middle school, that's when it started coming out. When people just, I don't know what they saw around me. I never asked them because I was just, being a teenager. And they go, "Is your name Chris?" I'm like, "Yes." And they're like, "Well, I got a question for you. I don't know why, but can you tell me something?" And I was like, and then at that time, I was like, "Yeah, it's just a lucky guess, whatever." And I told them. And then there was times that as more came out, I was considered the witch. Whenever in high school they considered me, oh, there comes the witch.
oh yeah,
But
sure,
in
sure,
middle
because you
school,
had abilities, right?
it started from, yeah, and everybody just started talking to me little by little. And then after high school, it blew up like crazy in my face. Um, and then like I had premonitions, plane crashes, I had disasters. But at that time, I didn't remember writing a journal. There was a lot of stuff. I'm into astrology too. I used to write a book. I can't even remember where that book is, Matthew. It was a black book, and it had
Right.
all the Aries people, the Taurus, the Gemini. And I would say, what is your zodiac sign? And they would, and I was interested, but then I lost the book as all the times that I moved. Um, but yeah, I think it hit more when I was on Facebook. I would do readings through text. Now I don't do readings through text. I mean, I'll make it short and give them a little taste or whatever. That was
Sure.
years ago, but now it's like I like to interact. I like to see the person's eyes. I
Sure.
look at everything, the body language. Um, and
So,
I don't
so
necessarily see you to read you.
right.
Um,
Yeah, you just pick up
so
on that
yeah,
energy, right?
it's been an awesome journey. Yeah, I've been doing that for far as I can remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, it runs in my
So it sounds
family.
like
I know in my
So it
most
sounds like it kind of developed over time for you, right? So it's something that you knew as each stage of life happened, you
it was
connected with more abilities and connected with
it's
more gifts,
true.
and that helped you understand as you were going what was happening. So I just want to go back to one thing you were talking about, like when you would have a dream. So do you feel like that was traveling, like astro projection related, or do you just feel like that was those abilities starting to show?
Honestly, Mother, that is a real good question. I want to say, like just the gut feeling I'm getting. I want to say it was astral projecting because there was certain
Sure.
locations that I didn't even know what I was doing, and I still do it to this day. I'll go to people's houses, and the best way. This I don't know if your psychic can relate, but I know other. I forgot what it's called. Um, there was this friend of mine years ago, but I met her on different. It doesn't even exist anymore. And I've had times where I almost feel like somebody's conjuring me. Like,
Oh
like
wow.
there's
Yeah.
candles around, and then there's like a circle. And like, say if somebody's having a paranormal experience or just a missing person, but I don't. I mean, I don't appear like this, but I get this weird feeling. It's almost kind of like
Like you're being pulled there, right? Sort of like you're being
I
drawn
can
there,
describe it. It's hard to
so to speak.
describe. I'm trying. Yeah, I'm being pulled. Yeah, I'm being pulled, and then it's like they talk to God or they talk to whoever their source, however you want to call them, Jesus, Lord Savior, however you want to call them. I feel like when they call that person, they ask, well, who's available at this time? So God looks at his list and he said, well, this person's doing this person's busy, this person's busy. So he looks through all his gifted children and he says, okay, you know what? This person's available. So he sends a message to the psychic or medium empaths telepathically, and he says, you have an assignment to do. So you get these premonitions of what you're seeing. You don't know where you're going, and then you appear and you're like, God, this face looks familiar. That's where that deja vu comes into play.
Sure, sure,
And
yeah.
I've had times where I feel like people are conjuring me, not literally like the Conjuring movie, nothing like that. It was like
Right now, yeah,
they
I get what you're saying.
called me in a
They're
protective
linking in, and
circle.
they're right. Yeah, they're linking in, and they're
It's I
asking
don't know if that makes
for
any
help.
sense, but
Sure, yeah, it does. Yeah, so the kind of I think the way I'm interpreting that is,
yeah,
somebody is asking for that, and they're putting that intent out, right? Because we believe, I know that our team focuses on intent very heavily, and we believe that intent is everything that we do, even whether it's paranormal or whether it's connecting with spirit. So we put the intent out, and then spirit puts in our path what we need. Or the people we need for whatever circumstance we're facing. So it sounds to me like that's kind of how that's happening too. At least that would be how I would interpret it. Rhonda, thoughts?
I agree. Yeah, because I've had actually last summer a cold case that I was working on, and I was thinking, somebody's going to get a reading, and these are messages for that person, because I was getting these things, not even knowing what they were for, but I wrote them down, and then when I got this cold case come across, I was able, I asked the lady a few questions. I'm like, okay, this message is for this lady, and so I told her, what I had seen and what I felt, and it gave her a little closure, but it also helped them find some things that of the missing person that they thought it was in a location, and they were actually able to find some things there that helped them. Yeah, I got the messages way before I even talked to the lady or knew what they were. But yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah,
Chris,
and
I know
I
I was
guess
reading a
that
little
kind of
bit on your
relates to us. I guess
Facebook.
you
Sorry, go ahead, Chris. I didn't mean to cut you off.
go ahead.
No, no,
No,
I was just saying
I wasn't going to say anything. I was just saying, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Sorry, we're having a little bit of an audio delay here. I'm not sure what's causing that, but what I was going to say real quick is I was reading on your Facebook that one of the ways that you like to use your gifts is to help families. So, would you want to talk a little bit about the work you do and exactly how you do that?
Um, I guess it's like lately I've maybe done a few missing cases here, not here, but I've done them maybe like I think Corpus is about 2 hours, 3 hours. I did that case, and then I've done other cases here, and then other states where I've heard feedback. I tried back then. I tried to work with law enforcement, but since everything, even before COVID, I started changing, and I said, you know what, I can't work with law enforcement, even though I that's one of my things that I wanted to work with the law enforcement. But I've heard throughout the years that a lot of people that have known me, they're like, Chris, you need to be careful because there's a few bad apples, just like in any field. Now I try just to get a hold of the family, because you know how if you're a psychic, you know that when you work with law enforcement, they show you like what they're supposed to show you, but the things that you get, if you get things that it is not on the news, then they interrogate you and they think that you're the one that did it. I've already been
Yeah.
interrogated, maybe not like physically, but over the phone. I want to say maybe like twice. And they
Yeah.
interrogated me and they're like, well, who are you? How do you know all this information? This information was not on the logo. And I said, like I said, my name's Chris Garcia. I'm a psychic medium from San Antonio, Texas. And I told them, I said, I have nothing to hide. I said, if you want to check me out, I'm not very hard to find. I said, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, which I'm on Twitter, Instagram. I said, if you want to ask my friends, they'll tell you. I've done a lot of
Sure.
cases, not similar to missing persons or paranormal work, on Facebook Live, or I've been to physical, physical locations to where I've assisted people. And I told him, I said, if you don't believe me, I told him, I said, I have nothing to hide. I can give you my number. And you know how most people are like, with me, I didn't do that. I showed them
Yeah.
direct
Right.
contact, and I said, you know what? You want to check a background? You can do it. And then they were like, well, please don't hang up. And I could hear, I said, hold on, I'll get back to you. So I could tell like they were checking me out, and then like that, and they're like, well, how do you know this after they checked me out? I said, this is my number, 24 hours a day. You can call me. If you want to meet me, we can meet up. And after
Yeah.
that,
And
it
I think,
just, other people,
and
I
I think
guess,
you,
put a good word in for me. And yeah.
yeah, I think you hit on something that I think is I think not just with law enforcement, but whether you work in the paranormal or you're a psychic medium or you have abilities at all, there's people's first instinct is to dismiss more than it is to accept, right? So they always want to challenge whatever you bring to the table. They always want you know their human proof. They don't like to accept those things, and I think in the case of law enforcement where they're so analytical anyway in their approach to things. They're so systematic. They have, you know, they're used to investigating things and having proof or having to get proof. So I think that's why sometimes they struggle with
Yes.
things that they don't understand. And like I said, not just law enforcement. I think that folds over to everything. I know even for us when we do paranormal cases, you can go into a family situation and the wife is the one who's called you in. She's 100% on board, but the husband thinks that we're all crazy and a bunch of nuts. So, he dismisses everything that we bring to the table. So we have to navigate that even on the paranormal side. And then on the psychic side and the mediumistic side, we run into those on a whole nother level, right? Wouldn't you agree, Rhonda? That's something that we see often in residential.
It is. It is. And it's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. People are just generally, skeptical. Even when I'm doing readings, people are like, you have to give them validation before they believe what you're saying. And then they're still skeptical of it. But usually after the validation, they're like, oh, okay. I don't know if you've encountered that, Chris, having to give validation first.
Most of the time, when I've done shows or just even readings offline when I'm not doing streaming shows or whatever, I've gotten validation. There was a few people that were skeptical, Rhonda. But the thing is, usually I like to give, I like for people to be honest with me because I'm honest with them with what I get. And I said, if I did good, you post on my Facebook. And all the stuff that if you're a follower on my Facebook, you'd see that I get very good feedback. I don't tell
Right.
them to put that. They do it on their own. Um, and honestly, I get a lot of good feedback. But to me, no matter how gifted you are, I feel that validation is very important. And the reason why is because it gives you clarification that you're on the right path, and it gives you more encouragement. Because when you don't get the validation, I'm not saying that you're not going to get validation all the time, but if you're at least maybe 95, 99% of the time, you'll get validation. And some messages don't even make sense. And they're like, you know what? First, that doesn't resonate. Or Rhonda or whoever psychic they're
Yeah.
doing, not everything is going to resonate at the time. I've had people where they're like, no, no, no. They were being like an ass with me. And then like I got back later and they're like, you know what? I'm sorry, but you know what? At first it didn't make sense, and then they'll call me back and they'll say, oh, you know what? That does make sense. So they'll apologize for it. But there was maybe one time there was this one person being a butthead with me, and I told them, I said, and then they're like, well, I don't believe in psychics and blah 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 and mediums. But and then I had an encounter with a paranormal investigator. This was a long time ago, way before I met y'all. And he was an what do you call it? An alumnus. It starts with an A. I can't think of the damn word right now. Um, and he's like, I'm atheist. I think that's what you call atheist. That's what you call. I'm sorry. And then I was like, okay. So I said, if you're a paranormal investigator, you don't believe in psychics, right? You don't believe in religion. You don't believe in witchcraft, voodoo, witchcraft, whatever you want to call it. No matter what field it is. And I'm like, you're a paranormal investigator. And he said, well, I believe that everything you see in this, like at night, they're not orbs. I think it's dark dust particles. And I'm like looking at him. I was
Sure.
like on the phone and I'm like, he was the only person that gave me a hard time. And after that, he just unfriended me. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, what are you trying to prove? You're a paranormal
Yeah.
investigator and you don't believe in anything, not even in
Yeah.
the
And
field that you do. Then why are you going to call
absolutely.
yourself a paranormal investigator? And that's the only
And
time I've
sadly,
had
Chris,
nasty word.
sadly,
But
Chris, I know, I've encountered or met people in the paranormal that get into it as skeptics strictly to disprove everything that we try to bring to the table.
mm,
That's the whole reason that they get into it, is to try and prove these things. And of course, we as paranormal investigators, we always try to find earthly explanation for things first. But there isn't always
yeah,
earthly explanations, and that's
yeah,
the key. But you're right, and it's sad,
yeah,
but unfortunately, there skeptics are out there, and they don't believe in anything. And I've always felt like you can't. There will never be enough evidence for a skeptic, just like there'll never be enough skepticism for a true believer. So you just kind of have to go through that, both
yeah,
sides of that a little bit, and kind of navigate those waters to try and figure out exactly what you're dealing with, and how to handle those those situations. But yeah, we've encountered those things too. It's the age-old thing: the priest and the atheist have a conversation.
yeah,
The atheist will never convince the priest that God
yeah,
doesn't exist, and he'll never convince the atheist the other way. So it is what it is, right? Anyways,
yeah. And
in working with people, what would you say is probably been the most rewarding moment for you using your abilities to help others? What was that moment that you felt like, man,
I guess
I
for
really
me,
did something cool?
I think is when I found people and I brought them home. There was this local case that I found this girl. I didn't even describe the house, which I didn't even know how I got that information. It's not the knowing. Um, I mean, I can't really say what is my favorite thing. I think I love a little bit of everything. I've been tested with people that have I know people from TV that have done investigations, and this is how I do things. When I do things, I don't care if it's investigation in live on Facebook, um,
Sure.
or if it's a local investigation or a missing person. I tell them, don't tell me anything. Just tell me the person's name. The only thing I'll need is the person's name. If it's a missing case, I just tell me the name. Don't tell me anything else. Or sometimes I might not even ask. And then when it comes to investigations, I've done a few live on my Facebook, but they're like old live investigations that I've done where I tell them, don't tell me anything. I know you interview the people that you go to investigations. And then they tell them, he goes, I've never talked to Chris. We didn't talk today.
Right. Right.
And for me, I just don't like to be told anything. I like to go in cold
Sure.
and
Yep.
not know anything because that's just me. I know that every psychic is different, but to me, I think if you
And by and
can
large,
get a
Chris, I
little
think
bit of information, just maybe
sure.
you don't
Yeah,
like to
just
be
kind of put you
told
in the right
anything.
direction.
Sorry, I'm
But
sorry.
what I was going to say is, I know all the psychic mediums I have worked with, not only on our team but outside of our team. Whenever I'm working with mediums, by and large, they want to go in cold. And the more I've developed my own abilities, the more I like to know less too, because it kind of clouds your judgment, and it can jade what you're getting. So it's better to have nothing and get what you get, what spirit gives you, and you take those messages for what they are, right? I mean, I think I think Rhonda's wanting to say something.
Yeah.
I see her over there nodding, so
I
go
agree.
ahead.
I love going in cold because it's validating for me. Because
Go ahead.
sometimes I still question myself: is this real? Am I just, is this things I'm, imagining? And then, but if you get the validation because you're going in cold, it really helps to encourage you to keep reading, and it helps you.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
absolutely,
it
right.
does,
And
because I
that
think
also
it
helps with your
resonates
validation too, doesn't it?
when yeah, it does. And I to me, you know, it just gives you that reassurance that you're like on the right path. And like I said, I like how you said, Matthew, I don't like to go in with knowing anything. But you know what I've done, and I swear I don't know why this happens to me, but I've had times where I've even had people that they're like, "Hey, my name's so and so. I heard you blah 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 from this show," and they'll open up to me and they'll tell me, "Well, this is what's going on." And I've done this maybe like I don't even know how many numbers of times, but they'll tell me everything that's going on, and then they'll say, yes, I got a question," and I'm like, and I only tell them once. I said, "Thank you for the information, but I wish that you didn't tell me anything.
Sure.
But I did pick this up." And it could be off the subject, and they're like, "That is weird. That wasn't what I was going to ask you, but you told me something that nobody knows, and I'm telling you
Right.
everything." And I'm just, yeah, and they're just like, "How did you get that?" And then I told him, I said, like I said, "Don't tell me anything." And
Yeah.
there's times where I put myself to this model that no matter how much they open up to me, I don't use that information, because then I don't get the validation. I don't get the perceptions or the things I'm seeing with my clairvoyant or clairsentient. I hear something, or I smell something,
Sure. Sure.
or I can hear that person's name, or or just incidents in my head. I just go with spirit, and that's just that way I work with. I don't like to be told
Yeah.
anything. I don't care what investigation, and oh, and by the way, I was going to tell you a story too, with the T-shirt. I mean, with the shirt that you put on my profile, which I love that shirt because I love Amy. I'm a big fan of hers. Um, she's a one person that I don't care a crap what anyone says. I've heard that no matter if you work your way up there, you're gonna say, she's fake, whatever. To me, no, she's not fake.
Right.
Even though she's in a bigger public eye than we are, but she's one that I could say that pushes me.
Sure.
Um, she's like my motivator. She's one of them. My other one is where I got this scarf. It's from Chip Coffee. He picked it out for me. I got this from a reading a long time ago. And people like that, it pushes me
Inspires
to
you, right?
strive for
Yeah.
more.
Sure. Sure. It
It's like,
inspires you to
yeah, it
reach
does,
your full
and
potential. Yeah.
it inspires me to work within that field that they do, but have my own little show, or TV show
Yeah.
or
Your
radio
own.
show. It
Make
don't
your own
matter what
mark
it is.
in
It
right. Make your
pushes
mark in
me to,
things. Absolutely.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
And
just
I
that's
think
why I
you
told
were.
you I sent you that shirt, because that,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think that was also, I think you also point out something else that is very relevant too. I think when sometimes again working with different mediums, when you get information, it can also affect that frame of reference, right? Because spirit's given us a frame of reference to try and figure out what messages we're getting. So if we get information that is putting an idea in our mind, we might miss what is actually being handed to us to figure out the message that we're receiving. So that frame of reference is important. But I think that also comes back to, and I know for us and being paranormal researchers, it's taken time to learn how to do that, how to work in those areas with mediums. And I think that a lot of teams sometimes miss out because they rely solely on. And I'm not knocking other teams by no means, because I mean we started the same way years and years ago. You rely on your EVPs and your recordings and those things, and you're missing part of the picture. When you start tapping into abilities and you start bringing in the mediums and you start bringing in those things, you start working together, you actually elevate the whole community, because you get so much more than you were just getting before. Just because the meter doesn't go off doesn't mean that you're not getting the pieces to the puzzle that actually help you figure out whatever you're doing, whether it's as a medium or psychic working a cold case, or it's an investigation going in and trying to help a family in need, or like we just recently were at a very famous haunt doing a large scale production, filming a documentary, and we tapped into all those things to unravel some of the mysteries of Randolph County Asylum. So I just think that the role that psychics and mediums play, both in and out of paranormal, is largely underutilized sometimes. And I'm glad to see the community changing so much. And where I'm going with this is you mentioning people like Amy and Chip Coffey. They're helping pave the way on a larger scale, just like the TV shows did for paranormal in terms of making it mainstream. I think these more well-known psychic mediums are doing the same thing for the psychic medium side of the coin. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah, and I do. Honestly, I do feel that it does. And then there's some of them that they let that, I guess, that show or whatever get through their head. But if you can see the humbleness, no matter when they're not on the show, and they can show that humbleness, then that proves that they're still humble, no matter because I've always been told, and have other people have said, asked me a question. They go, "Do you think the psychics that come on these shows are rich?" And I'm like, "No, they pay bills just like everybody else. They get that, yes, acknowledge it. Oh crap, they
Yeah.
must have money." But in my interpretation, they're not as rich. They get that little bit of spotlight. But as far as like
Yeah.
being rich and making all
You know
these
where I think that
millions,
comes
no,
from? You know where I
no,
think
they
that
got.
comes from? I think that comes from the old 1-900 call Cleo stuff that I think people have that misconception. I think
Oh yes,
society
yes,
kind of gets that misconception that just because people have these abilities, that they're making bank at people's expense, and that is the furthest thing from the truth. When you work with truly work with true psychic mediums, that is the furthest thing from what they're doing. What they're really trying to do is help people obtain closure, get answers to things. And again, I think that's where that's very underutilized. You're right. I think that's the misconception that people absolutely have about anybody that has abilities, or the other side of the ones that just don't believe in anything. So, it is what it is. So I guess we just have to, again, navigate those
that's true.
waters. What, Rhonda? I'm sorry.
That's good.
My mentor, Pataky,
Go ahead.
she's talked to us a lot about using, making sure that we get something in return, to keep that karmic balance, but not to overcharge. We're very careful. We still keep our readings extremely low, because if somebody needs it, they need it. And sometimes I'll give a free reading, or I'll discount it if I feel like the person, because Spirit tells you. But she really has instilled that into us, that you can't charge $500, $600, $700 for reading. That's crazy. That's ridiculous. And that is taking it. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, it's just, but there's a lot of people that if they make that much, they better be good if they're gonna charge that much. That's all I gotta say. That's my input on that. If they're gonna charge you $200-300, they better be good and
Yeah.
tell you, just like if you're charging 45 or 50 or 30, I don't care what it is. But thing is that if you can back up what value or self-worth you are,
There
then
you go.
yes, you pay
Self-worth. Absolutely.
$200. But you better give me some. But you better
Yeah.
tell me something that there's just no way you at other people, and not using my Facebook or just by looking at my name and say, you know what, let me see where he lives. Yeah, you know what, I pick up that you live from San Antonio. Hello, everybody can see that.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like, no, you tell
Yeah.
me something
Yep.
that nobody knows off of social media, and that just backs up your price. And I say,
Right.
you know what,
Yeah.
you're good. You're worth that much, you know. But if it's just there
Yeah,
for
and
show, then
yep,
I don't know.
I think that's it. I
Yeah.
think it
So
goes back to
that's
your
just my
intent, right? It
opinion.
goes. I agree. I think it goes back to your intent. You know, I mean, again, I always kind of, and I know I relate things back to paranormal because that's what we do with this team. That's a big part of it. But I also see the same thing with people that
Yeah.
charge for residential work, which I think is insane because it's just not what you should do. But there's a
I don't
difference
charge
in
for.
that.
I
There's a
don't charge.
difference in Right, but there's a
Yeah.
difference in that in somebody coming to you for a reading and asking you for your services, or an energy worker that is actually somebody just popped that up there. I think Sky actually just commented on that. I was actually getting ready to
I
say an
know. I
energy
know.
worker.
I know because I was. I guess.
Yeah, you know they
Sorry,
charge
guys. I was
for
looking down because I
services.
didn't. I don't know.
That's okay. No, I was
Yeah,
just saying, you know,
and it
it's.
happens
I
that
think
way.
it's.
Yeah.
I think you guys are exactly right in what you're saying. Is that you know, it's one is self worth. You know, what is your time worth, and that has to be realistic for what a your abilities are, b what the person that you're working for is actually. You know what that person is needing from you. And you know the same thing goes with whether it's energy work, healing work, psychic readings, whatever you're doing. So unfortunately, it comes down to intent. It comes down to you know what's your intent when you're doing these things. What are you trying to do? What are you trying? Are you trying to help people or hurt people? And I think that's the bottom line. So that goes back to that karmic exchange and that even exchange. If you're always taking, then you're not providing anything to anyone, any kind of service. So again, I think you guys I think everybody comments, and I think everybody's in agreement on that. But yeah,
I know.
so
I'm look.
Chris,
Yeah, because I'm looking at the comments too.
yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to pop
I'm
them up.
looking at
I'm
the
trying to
comments.
multitask here, bring them up on the screen and talk at the same time. And I'm not sure how well I'm doing at that tonight. But anyways, no. So Chris, do you got anything coming up in the works? Anything big that you got going on, and anything that you're getting ready to do different or new, or that you want to talk about or promote tonight?
Um, the only thing I can say I'm getting on different shows. Of course, I don't know if you've seen a lot of my Facebook posts. I'm selling mugs. I got the water bottle up here. That I just give it for free because I'm like, I'm not gonna be all about money, you know. Of course, I gotta make a little something, but it's not a lot.
Well, sure, yeah,
But I'm just feeling like I'm just promoting more. That's what I've been doing, manifesting, reaching out to people, and just if you need my guidance, Spirit's gonna tell me this and tell me that, but I just feel like this year's gonna be good, and like my friend Becky, that's on the feed. I have had readings. She's read me. I've read her. So far, it's been validating.
good deal. Yeah,
Um, there's a lot of stuff I've been told that's coming for big, like big stuff is coming for me. But I just, I see if it happens because I've told people have told me that they see something in April, which I don't know what that could be because we're in April, and then one of my friends told me they saw something in August, me going to a ParaCon, but I have never been to a ParaCon. But with this COVID, it's hard. I mean, I do want to
yeah,
get more in the public eye with like speaking at ParaCons because I've already done MUFON here in local. I've
yeah,
done
yeah.
that stuff already, and I've had my chance of speaking with the mic, so I know what it is. The first time, I ain't gonna lie to you, Matthew, I was nervous, but I do feel that I don't know why, but I just feel like all these things that I'm doing, like if it's on stream or whatever platform I'm on, I feel, even though I can't read myself, I just feel like it's preparing me for something bigger, which I don't know what it is. I've been told by different people that they see either paranormal work around me. They see, I've heard a big missing person case is coming out soon for me,
Sure.
and they said that that's going to open something big, which I don't know. I know not all my friends will tell me everything because I have to learn on my own. But yeah, I'm gonna try working on a website. I do have a website, but I believe I don't know. That's what I was trying to look for, but I didn't want to look down and be rude because I was trying to look for it as we were talking. There's this website I do have, but it's not to where like you know how like when you get a reading, it says add to cart or something like that. I do have a
Yeah,
website. I believe it's Garcia 187 Blue Love. I think it's WXITC. It has that weird website. A lot of people have that. It's a temporary website, but it's not something that if you
sure.
do like the basic stuff, you can't really put like all
Yeah,
this other stuff.
regular.
It's
You
a
have to
website,
buy.
but I'll send it to you
Yeah,
later because I
yeah,
can't
yeah. I was
because
going
I
to say
can't send
if
it
you
to you
want,
right now.
I was going to say, if you want to message it to me, what I can do is I'll put it in the description of the show because it'll remain up on our YouTube and our Facebook, so people can scroll down through the comments and scroll down through the description of the show, and they'll be able to just I'll put it in as a link, and they'll be able to just link right to it. So we'll be able to do that for sure. But no, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, and I think that if you get the opportunity to do paracons and events as things start opening back up, you absolutely
I,
need to do those. It's a great networking opportunity. You meet great people, even if you go to ones. And I won't mention any names, but we went to one last. I guess it was before COVID, so 2 years ago, and it was a dud. But the networking and when I say dud, there wasn't a lot of foot traffic. There wasn't a lot of people. However, the networking that we got, sitting and
wow.
talking with people and connecting with people that
Oh
we've
my
remained in
God.
contact with, is what it's all about.
Wow.
So it's yeah, it's not always about the foot traffic. It's about that networking opportunity as well. We have a big Paracon that we're putting on. Actually,
Yeah.
has been moved twice due to COVID. It has now been moved to 2022 because North Carolina and Asheville
Oh
is
my
still
God.
really restricting people. So I feel for anybody that is
Wow.
trying to get to events. It is tough right now, but it is what it is. We are
Yeah,
in a
and I was
pandemic,
gonna ask
and
you
it's
how
been rough.
how is that? I was gonna ask you, I think when you go to these events, I mean, I was gonna ask you, I mean, you don't have to tell me too much, but when you go to these events, is it gonna be the same like it used to be? Because they say that when it goes to these big like there's this one I know that's over there by oh my God, I can't think of it right now. I just went blank. Oh, it's in New Jersey. There's one where there's a big Paracon where it's like a year thing. It's all the time. And the thing is that they did change the date. Because I do have it on Instagram, but the thing is that there's just so much that I want to go out, but it's just you just don't know where. And I know it's a lot of wear and tear on the body too when you fly here and there,
Yeah,
but that's something that I'm looking forward to doing Paracons and maybe speaking up because I've already gotten the taste of it. And honestly, I like it because I do feel that
yeah.
I can
It's an
teach
opportunity to
people
connect,
stuff,
right? Yeah,
about yeah, and then meeting people and interacting, and then whatever comes out
absolutely.
later on in the future, which I've been told by lots of people that there's these big opportunities that, they see something close coming close for me. They said, we can't tell you. You have to, it'll come when it's supposed to. And I'm like,
When
okay,
it's
well, it
supposed to come,
comes,
that's right.
and,
It'll
and
come
that's
when
the only,
it's time.
yeah. And the only thing that I
Because
can say that I'm doing a lot more shows, which, yeah, doing create a lot more shows. So yeah, that's the only thing that I can say that I'm doing right now. I am helping some people with some cases. Like I want to say, paranormal. There's a few cases that I've been still helping, like behind the scenes. And then a few missing cases, but I'm not giving that detail online.
sure, sure, no,
But
of course not.
that's all I can't go into any more
Yeah,
detail.
yeah.
Yeah, go into any
And
more detail.
I think if there's one good thing that came, I hate to say there's no good thing that came out of COVID, but one thing that did come out of COVID, I think, is a more opportunities for shows. I mean, our show, the show that we're doing right now, was born out of necessity because we weren't able to get out in the field. We weren't able to do the things that we had been
Wow.
so accustomed to doing. So we started doing this show simply as a way to connect and network and still do what we do, but in a different way. And that's what launched, this for us. So like I said, nothing good came out of COVID. I don't want people to sit there and go light me up in the comments and say, what are you saying? That's not at all what I mean. What I'm saying is I think opportunities came from a bad situation for a lot of us. There are a lot of shows that were launched and that now are people connecting. And I have to say, for us doing this show, meeting people like yourself, we have met such fantastic people and have made some truly great friendships for collaborations strictly from doing this show. of people that I know will work with for years to come. So that's the silver lining, I guess. In all storm clouds have a sunny day behind them. So I think that's the important thing to remember, right?
Yep, that is correct. And like I said, even though I know, we had to reschedule, but you know what? I do believe that everything happens for a reason, even though we
That's
don't know
exactly
what the
right.
reason is. Maybe, and then maybe well, how I look at it is, even though I know that there was an issue that came up with you, but
Yes,
I look at
I'm
the big
sorry.
picture.
Unfortunately, I couldn't
What
do it. Yeah.
if, I know, no, it's okay. But what I see it is, I see it as that if we would have done it, I do feel that certain people would have been missing something big, even
Yeah.
though,
Yeah.
whatever the message, because I see it as, because that's everything that we're talking about. This is what I've done in all shows, and I've been telling this to everyone. Um, and this is for everyone listening. I know that most people expect me to do readings on different shows, which I've done, but remember something. I see it as no matter who I'm talking to, or what uh platform on, or whatever
Hmm.
show or network I'm on, you got to look at everything that me, Matthew, and his psychic, that we're all could be just sending you a message, but in a different way. How do
Yeah.
we
Somebody
not
may
know
need to
what
hear
we're
something,
talking
right?
about?
Yeah.
It's not reaching. Yeah, that's how I look
Yeah.
at it. You never know. You never know that
Yeah.
maybe something so simple can be something big for somebody that is new
Yeah.
within the field. And maybe they're like, you know what? He just answered something, or she just answered something, or Matthew
Yep.
just answered something. So the smallest things could be big things for people. So just remember that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and that's one of the other things that just we've learned from doing this is just great because you just get different perspectives and different viewpoints, and everybody works slightly different, everybody connects slightly different, and when you get the opportunity to sit down and have these discussions, you're absolutely right. There may be somebody that clicks on this that needed to hear one thing that was said tonight that resonates with them and makes a difference. So that's a big part of why we love doing the show, even because it's another way for us to reach people and educate people. So yeah, I totally agree, Chris. I think that's a
Yeah, and that
wonderful
is
point.
true. I believe.
It's a wonderful point.
And I
But yeah,
just love what
so
I do. And man,
yeah, so and that shows, and that's good, and that's the thing. I mean, as long as you're passionate about what you do and you believe in what you do, the rest will work itself out. Things like you were talking about opportunities coming. There's been times, and I know Rhonda can relate to what I'm about to say because we had opportunities that we thought were going to be the big opportunity, and it worked out not to be. And at the time, it seemed like it was really a setback, but in reality, it was the best thing that could have happened because we weren't ready. It wasn't time. It wasn't time yet. So sometimes, just because
it
you get a
wasn't.
setback, it just isn't nothing more than time for you to prepare. It's an opportunity for lessons, right? We have blessings and lessons, and sometimes it's both and sometimes it's one or the other. So you just got to look at things that way and move forward, right?
Everything I believe is spirit led, and
Yeah, and
and
I
we get what we need, not what we want. So I truly believe that.
Well said. I agree.
yeah, and I do believe that too. I mean, there's just a lot of people that the opportunities come, they do, and sometimes it's like when they want it on their timetable, and I'm like, no, it's on God's timetable. Yes, you might get that opportunity, but it's not the way you want it to be. It might be something similar to what you want, but not precise on how you want. So that's how I look at it. I mean, every
Yeah,
opportunity could be just a lesson, maybe because you're not ready, or you need to grow from
absolutely.
something until that big opportunity comes, and then you just move forward and you work together as a team. And then another subject that I want to say is, to me, on the psychic level, I feel like, to me, it hurts me empathically that there's too much competitive,
Yes.
People lost the value of investigations.
Yes.
Um, it's everybody's like, okay, you know what? Well, we're gonna be better than them, or we are. No, you gotta come as united. And I think people forgot that
Absolutely.
meaning, and maybe some people will reconnect with the people that are in their circle. And I just feel like there's just too much competition, and I'm not saying that's not a bad thing. That is, it keeps you on your toes, because I know there's a lot of
Right.
good psychics besides me and other psychics that are probably even better
Well
than me.
said.
But the whole point is, regardless, no matter how they are, there's always different psychics that work
Yep.
different ways, different techniques, and then other psychics learn from something else that you're like, I didn't think about that. So,
Yep.
but you learn from one another, and I do feel that some people need to get their mind straight and start thinking, okay, if I feel like I'm going off my path, maybe you need to look at your circle and reconnect and say, okay, well, maybe they're just not for me. They're throwing me off.
Yes. Release what
Maybe they're
doesn't
going a
serve you.
different direction.
Absolutely.
Maybe they're trying to,
Nope.
and, and it, to me, that's the only thing that empathic, it hurts me because I could feel it in the air, but I'm like, God didn't give us these gifts to beat
Squander
up
them.
and try to
Yep.
be better than another, you know?
You're
And
absolutely
that's the
right.
only part that hurts me
Yes.
empathically.
You're absolutely right. I think that this community, when I say this community, I always, for me, I lump all of it, all of us, the para, the psychics, all of us weirdos that like all these crazy things and believe in all these different things. You know how I charge my rocks into the moonlight. So, I mean, I can never make fun of anybody else for their beliefs, what they do, right? But I think that is what's really
Mhm.
important is coming together. If we're ever going to lift our community up, and that only can happen when we realize that we're sometimes the teacher and sometimes we're the student, and reversing those roles is so key. So many people talk about para unity and sticking together, but they're too busy saying that my way is right and your way is wrong. And I see it in the mediums, I see it in the teams, I see it in para. And you're right, Chris, that is absolutely what has to happen. And I think that, another thing that people often forget, is, kind of the point right here is none of us work the same. Unfortunately, that's true. And people forget that. They lose sight of that and they think that they're right and that's it. And the other thing I think people forget is, for the blessings to come, we have to give things up. We have to make room for those things too. And people seem to lose
Yeah,
track of that too. So that's a big part of all of this, right?
yeah, yeah. And you know what? That's another thing too, what I can add. Um, Giving up sacrifices. Sometimes you gotta let go of something to be better at something else.
Yep.
I think that's very important. I don't know. I just feel like that's just important to me. I do feel that you learn from different people, and then it's kind of like you just learn. And I just feel like everything is a learning process. So when you do it, you just learn. And I can't really say any more about that. It's just but I do feel like we all need to somehow reconnect, and that's a sad part. So yeah.
You have to have a family, a tribe. Of,
Yes.
lucky that I'm a part of two tribes, and they kind of meshed, the psychics that I work with,
Mhm.
and also with the para team with SRS. But you have to be with those people. You can't grow if you're not around those people. They help
No.
feed each other. So you have to have your tribe.
Yeah,
You know what? If
yeah,
you're the
that is true.
smartest
Now
person,
that I can
if you're
agree
the
with.
smartest person, if you're the smartest person in the room, you need to find another room. And that is, to me, a thing to live by. Because if I'm the smartest guy in the room, I'm in the
Yeah, that.
wrong room, right?
Oh, you know what? I like that scene. I like that. I've
As
never heard
actually,
of that one,
yeah,
but
actually,
it's
that was
true. I
something.
just feel.
That was something my dad used to say. So that's one of those things that has always stuck
Wow.
with me. And it's true. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're
Yeah.
in the wrong
Yeah.
room because you can't learn nothing if you're the only one in
Yeah.
there that knows something. So I always try to be the dumbest guy in the room because that means
Yeah.
I got the opportunity to pick up something and learn something new, right? So but yeah, I think this is all
Yeah. Oh,
great points. And
I just sent you the link.
Okay, I will definitely put that in here when we get
I'm
off the
sorry, I
air.
just
I'll
sent
make
you the
sure
link.
to roll that in there. But I think what you said earlier, Chris, as we get ready to wrap this up here, but I think what you said earlier is absolutely right. So we were just talking about, think about what we were just talking about, how we all work differently in all aspects of this field, and how we have to be more humble and more accepting of one another, and to learn from each other. So you know what? Maybe somebody sees this show and they go, hey, you know what? Yeah, maybe I do need to sometimes think twice about things. I don't know. Maybe that's a long shot. Maybe I'm hoping for the moon and the stars there. But yeah, I think the lessons are there if we choose to see them, right?
Yeah,
And yeah, yeah,
and
that's just
it's
my
just
thoughts.
a whole thing that, I just, yeah, and it's true because I do feel that people need to learn of just reconnecting. I think with this, and it's weird because, I mean, I'm not into politics, but I think with all the government stuff, which I'm not even going to go there, I do feel that that separated us and we're
Absolutely.
fighting one another. And
Yep.
I'm sorry to tell you that, but that crap needs to stop. It's
You're
just pathetic of
amen,
all
brother.
these shooting, especially with these
Yeah.
Asians. I
It's
just see it
craziness.
psychically. I'm like, what are you people doing? Yeah, and
It's
it seems like
craziness.
it's getting better. And you know what I say? What I say that with all this psychic work, the paranormal, if it's missing, I feel like with all this chaos around the world, it pushes us to show that hey, God sent us down here. We're all light workers. We all have a mission to accomplish.
Yep.
We're here for a reason. So even if you believe it or not,
Yeah.
everybody has a mission. Once your mission, along with your family on the side, if you have kids or daughters or whatever you have, once you do that mission, then you go home. Now, if you don't complete that mission, sometimes other people's missions they get cut short because of disaster or they were there at the wrong time. They get into an accident and the person dies and they're like, and then the
Sure.
person's spirit, they're like, they can't cross over because they didn't get that unfinished business. So, like I said, and this is the big message I'm being told for some reason, I'm getting the message for someone. Don't take life for granted because it can be taken away in a heartbeat.
That's
So,
right.
that's a message that
That's
I got.
exactly right. Yep. And as you're talking about the chaos, the best thing you can do is turn off the TV, reconnect with your friends, reconnect with your family, reconnect with the people. Turn that shit off because all it is doing is furthering the chaos and the divide. I'm sorry, but that's where I'm at, and I was for years guilty of always watching that stuff nonstop, and it clouds you. The best thing to do is turn it off and reconnect with, maybe we should stop focusing on what's different and focus on what we have in common in this human experience. Maybe if we did that, we could each make ourselves a little bit better each and every day. Just my thoughts
Yeah,
to kind of add on to what you
yeah, and
said,
that's
Chris.
good because I mean, I do feel that. You know what I was going to tell you? Think about this, Matthew. Remember did you ever see that movie 2012? Remember
Yes,
that movie
actually,
2012?
I do. Yes. It's been a
Okay,
while, but yes.
okay, I want you to think about this. Okay, I want you to think about this. Okay, flip the numbers around and see what you get. Flip the numbers around of 2012, and what year are
Wow.
we in?
Yeah. 2021. Wow. Yeah. Good point,
Mm-hmm.
Chris.
That
Yeah.
that 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 that
Yeah.
that's scary, and a lot of people don't think about those little tiny things.
Little nuances.
And when
Yeah.
I think
Sure.
of that, when I see, yeah, I think the ones that stand out to me, and this is, I just pray that this doesn't happen, but the one that stands out when I see these, when I'm looking at the year, the one that stands out, and it's the movie 2012 that stands out. The other one that stands out too is The Day After Tomorrow with what's his name?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not Nicolas Cage. I can't think of his name right now, but anyway, I just feel like those are messages, and even an old friend of mine told me that all these movies that we've had, all these movies of like 2012, uh, The Day After Tomorrow, I can't think, and then there's Eagle Eyes that has to do with technology. I
Yes.
believe that those are all messages from producers, and it's a bigger picture of saying the end of days is coming, and you better be ready. So do what you can
Yeah.
because time is limited, time is short, and do what as much as you can because we all do have contracts to accomplish. Oh, can't believe I just said that. Accomplish contracts that we interact with people that we meet.
Right. Right.
And a lot of people that we meet, a lot of people might not believe this, but in every lifetime, we reconnect with the people that we are
Absolutely.
supposed to connect to. The only
Your
thing
soul
that's
groups.
different is the
Your soul
body
groups. Yep.
and the name.
Yep. New
So
shell,
everybody
same
reconnect.
vessel. I mean, yeah,
There's a
new vessel,
reason
same
for
being.
yeah, for same same spirit, but just different body.
Yep. That's why we have soul groups, and like we were talking about earlier, tribes. That's why you find your people and you stick with those people, and you reconnect, and that's a lesson that over the years I've come to really appreciate more and more is when you find your people. That's really where you're supposed to
Yeah.
be. But yeah, Chris, I think those are all fantastic
You know
points.
what? I want to give you some little. I was just gonna say, you're giving validation to my friend Becky. If you're listening, see, he said tribes. Did you hear that, Becky? He said tribes. Okay, that's 3
Yeah,
validations.
Rhonda said earlier
So
too.
that tells me that everybody I'm talking to, that there is that I'm finding
Connections.
my tribe that I'm
Yeah.
supposed to be with, the
Yep.
people that are supposed to be connection. So thank you for that, for saying that, because
Synchronicities.
that
Oh,
validates in a lot of ways more. Yeah.
yeah. No, you're welcome. Well, we're actually
So
over the hour mark, but Chris, it has been great to have you on tonight. I hope you enjoyed coming on together. I think we had a great conversation this evening. Those of you in the audience, I hope you guys will share this out for us. Go ahead and show Chris some love. Make sure you guys follow him on Facebook. Keep up with what he's doing. We're a group of people that are all trying to accomplish the same thing. So when we find like-minded folks, it is great to connect, and it is great to share that message and reach that larger audience of people to do that. So so actually Becky said good support system, so I just threw that on there for you.
I
But anyways,
know.
guys,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
Becky. I saw that. I'm looking at
All
it on
right,
my.
well, Chris, thank you again for coming on. I really appreciate you taking the time tonight to be with us. Rhonda and I think, Rhonda, I'll speak for you. I'm sure you feel the same way. You had a great time talking with Chris this evening.
I did. It was very nice to actually, he's been on my friends list for a while on Facebook. It's very nice to actually meet him, face to face. Well, video to video.
Video to video, right? Yeah. Well, you know what? That is the new face to face. That's the new world we live in. This is the face to face, right? I don't know. I was actually talking about this. I was doing another show. I can't remember if it was a couple weeks ago. It wasn't last night. So it was a couple weeks ago. I was doing another show. It was the Cryptic Paranormal show. Scott and I were actually doing it. But I had seen a meme that day, and you guys will appreciate this. And it said that Zoom is the new modern day seance, because what are you always doing? Hey, I can't see you. Can you make a noise? Can you say something? Can you do something so we know you're there? So this is the new modern day seance in a way, right? So I saw that meme that particular day, and I thought that was really funny. But anyways, everybody, thank you for tuning in to The Gathering. We'll have some great shows coming up. I haven't lined them all up yet, or we haven't put them out yet, but as soon as we get those shows, oops, I clicked off too quick. As soon as we get those shows up and together, we will put those out there. So we will be back probably next week. I don't know who we'll have yet, but we'll figure it out between now and then, because we're still trying to finalize a few. But as always, guys, thank you for all that you do, for all the love and support that you give us and our guests. And please make sure you share their content and follow them as well. Thank you all for tuning into The Gathering. I'm going to get ready to hit our outro. So thanks, everybody, and have a great evening.
Good night, everybody. Stay safe. Wear that mask.